Hear my voice and we'll just have him.
No, you should be in it too.
Damn.
Yeah, you need to be in it, dude.
Okay. I'm gonna try right now.
Alright.
Okay.
Should I stoop down? So I look short of you?
You got any crates to stand?
Yeah, man.
We're asking this question to all the other like famous guys. How do you get rid of stage fright and being on stage and getting nervous? How do you overcome that?
Stage fright. How do I overcome that? I think I tend to block things out after a while. Like, there was I think the biggest amount of stage fright I ever had was opening for the Rolling Stones. It was 450,000 people, 500,000 people, and I was like, here I am going up here, and that's a lot of people you either want to impress or whatever you. It's just a lot of people. Period. Whatever you do, that's a lot of people are going to judge you and watch you. So I went up there, and for a minute I was like, oh man, this really sucks. But then I just sort of wiped it out and blacked it out and said, you know what? No matter what I do, as long as I feel like I'm in my bedroom and keep my bedroom mentality of just going, you know what? I'm just going to fuck around for me. But in the very back of my mind, of course I want to impress them, but it didn't matter to me as much as having fun. And when I sort of put that sort of into my head, I started to realize, you know what, fuck it, it doesn't matter. And I think I spun better because I sort of blocked them out. Because when you look and see that many people, it's sort of hard to gauge and get a personal thing. I think I'm a little more nervous when it's like 100 people and you can see their faces. You look in their eyes, it's a little crazier. So, but I mean, I always just sort of go, you know what, fuck it. I'm imagine myself in my bedroom, or imagine myself like just doing it for myself, and all these people just happen to wander over to me, and I was just doing my thing anyway. And I think if you come into it like that, then it takes the pressure off, There's always still going to be that pressure on you, like on some and a drink doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt. If you take a nice one drink, not enough to get you fucked up or get you drunk, but just to loosen up the joints, you know what I mean? That always helps.
Do you have any pre-meditation before a show? People always say they get complete silence 10 minutes before they go on. Is that something you do, or what do you do before a show?
What do I do before a show? I try and stay. I try and have my alone time, because there's so many people backstage. There's a million people coming and going. People always want to. You probably get that same shit, I was watching the other night, and there's just like mad people coming in and out of your dressing room and shit. And I think for me, it's the same deal. Like about 10 minutes before I go on, I try and block everybody out, just so I can sort of go, okay, and what was I going to do again? How was I going to do it? And like sort of get, stretch a little bit, sort of get my head together, and then go out and do it. But sometimes you don't have that luxury, depending on if you're doing like a festival show or some shit, and it's like you just got to go. Those sometimes can be either the worst or the best shows. We just did one in Australia where we just had to get up and go, and you never really know. Like that's sort of, I think those are the most important shows, because if you can come off under circumstances where you haven't sound checked, you don't know what you're walking into, you don't really know anything, but you just sort of are like, okay, it's time for me to rock. And once you get up there and you do your thing and you hit your first couple mixes or cuts or whatever you're doing, and you're on, that's the epitome of knowing that you can do this for the rest of your life. Because anyone can practice and do a show and come off, but when somebody throws you to the wolves and says, go, perform, and you're sort of like, oh, okay, well, I just got to do it. Like when you tap into that piece of you that brings out the creative side and rises to the challenge and overcomes that. That to me that's the epitome of a good performer. Right? What about you, man? What do you do for stage fright?
Stage fright, breathing. My best advice was Ken Swift, and you said the same thing, was just have fun.
Yeah.
That was really, really good advice, and that's helped me very recently and stuff. And also breathing, letting out. If you have a lot of energy, just breathe it out and stuff, kind of like yoga type stuff. And I had another question. We were talking today about since you're a drummer, about rhythm and stuff, and like laying back behind the beat and whatever. How like a lot of DJs are like very technical and doing all kind of crazy stuff, but like the way you scratch is real smooth and all that. Tell us a little about music theory and stuff that DJs are missing.
I don't know. I think a lot of people need to learn. First off, you can't really teach soul to somebody. You either sort of have that or you don't. It's like watching people. If you ever went to church and you saw people clapping, there's always a couple people who are clapping offbeat. I don't know if you know that. Those to me are the people that you kind of can't teach them rhythm. Like it's sort of something you either have. Like some people are good at math, some people are good at fucking rhythm. Some people are good at making donuts, whatever the fuck. But that to me is like, if you have that, then you're on your right path. But I think a lot of people who are cutting, there's a lot of people I've seen scratching and cutting. The majority of them, they got the technical, and they do have a little bit of soul, but I think it tends to lean a little too much technical, and so you start to lose some of the funk of laying out in between things. Or, you know, if you see a certain like guitarists like Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen, all these guys who are just fucking killing it, they're all over the place. Those guys are good, and they're good at what they do, but also some of the best guitar players were actually the guys who just played really well, you know, who weren't just all over the place, but they had their moments of technical stuff, but they also had their moments of just strumming the right way, and that would sometimes hit you as good or better than some of the technical stuff. And I think that's sort of the thing that gets lost. So.
What about the way you scratch? Like how do you make it funky? Like I always hear it's always funky. How do you do that?
That's because I'm not technically as good as the rest of the people. So I think I hit a ceiling. I'm sort of like, I'm here, but I try to do, I think less is more is always my angle, because one, because I can't get as technical as some of the other cats, and B, because that's really just sort of, you know, when I close my eyes and I just lay out, that's what comes out. And it's very much, yeah, from playing the drums, it's sort of the same deal. You know, there's a way to swing the beat, there's a way to lay behind the beat or go forward, you know, in front of the beat. And that's the sort of thing. I think having swing and having soul, those combinations are the things that I like the most. I mean, watching people like you, or watching, you know, Quest, he was always a cat who I always thought was like, you know, was able to swing, D Styles. There's so many different people. I mean, I could go down a list of DJs who are good like that. But, you know, a couple of new kids, you know, I've seen even a couple people come up and be very stiff, and I think somewhere along the way they found their soul and they found their pocket, and now they're better DJs, because you know, you can learn all the steps, all the moves, but once you learn those, you almost sort of need to sit in a chamber by yourself and practice those moves, like, you know, from a different perspective, and maybe that'll, you know, allow you to find your rhythm and find your place. And I think that's what's happening. But I tend to see quite a few people who, just because they know how to scratch, they think like they've got it. But if you don't have soul in anything you do, then you're going to be stiff in mixing and in anything, and talking and rapping. You know, imagine a stiff rapper, like, you know, it's.
How do you get soul in your scratching? How do you do it?
I don't know, man. Listen to James Brown. Listen to all of James Brown, everything he ever did, and that'll probably help you. Yeah, it's sort of like asking, I don't know how to answer that question. So.
What are some advice to have for kids like that are new musicians or getting into DJing, and, you know, they see you want to get successful? What's kind of advice you have for them?
Be successful.
I could have said that really quick.
That's great.
Yeah, long question.
Yeah. What advice do I have for kids to be successful? Well, obviously, you know, you need to practice, and don't hate practicing. Like, love practicing. Like, you should be practicing anyway. Mm-hmm. Most of the people who I think who have made it and been successful are people who would have been doing this anyway. So if you go into it with that frame of mind of like, I just love it so much that I'm going to be doing it, and if I get successful, great. If I get paid, great. If I get X, Y, and Z, great. But if not, I'm still going to be doing this. To me, that's the best advice I can give anybody, is to, like, just, you know, if you want the success and being known and all the things, all the rewards that come with it, you have to not worry about it, because that's when it comes. I don't know. Have you found that? I've sort of found that. Like, you work, you're conscious of it, but as long as you don't make that your drive, and you make sort of bettering what you do and bettering yourself the goal, then that's actually the coolest thing. That's the biggest reward, because not only do you get to move forward in your world, you also get rewarded with it, you know, for it's sort of a cool thing. But that's, I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not, you're not looking for the rewards, you're rather looking for the creation and stuff. It's deeper to make something than have. I mean, it's better to make sure your elbows are not by one of these things when you're talking. Right. But yeah, it's definitely, you'd rather be satisfied making people happy than you getting all these rewards or whatever. I know we've done this a million times.
I got questions I want to know.
Oh man. Yeah, man. Okay, Z-Trip interview.
So,
Don't record this.
So cute.
Yes, sir.
Is to see the uncomfortable silence? I'm just bugging him with that. He hates it. Look at him. He hates it.